I'm David Kakava from Georgia. I've been involved in youth work for a very long time now, as both as a young person and as a representative of youth organization as a youth worker. And from very beginning, I was very much into digitalization aspects in youth work. Let's say I'm a tech savvy person, and I always try to tinker around and put it in my daily activities. So that's like when I even didn't know that what is digital youth work, I was applying basic principles of it. And my professional development in digital youth work started actually with digital security and privacy when I was working with young people with vulnerable backgrounds, say, and young activists. I was introduced to the concept of the digital youth work at one of the conferences, and it basically caught me up, and I started to dig around in the internet and getting information from my colleagues what is digital youth work. But basically, way before I was using different tools in my daily work on local or international levels. One of the first elements or tools what I used was while working with young people was Ingress, a game. It was I think it was in 2013. The game was popular way earlier from 2011, but in 2013 I returned back to Georgia, and I was inspired by my colleagues in Lithuania who were using geocaching as a tool for working with young people. And for me, that was like the first point to where I actually started to use it myself, digital tools proactively with young people. I consider it the starting point. In 2019, together with my friends and colleagues, we started to develop different projects on digitalization in youth work and how to use different digital tools in everyday work on local or international levels. But then we had dreaded year when pandemic hit us, and basically everybody moved from the physical spaces into the virtual spaces. And this process actually accelerated a lot of ideas and the needs what we had before with what we saw, but it wasn't so common yet. And then basically humanity was faced with such challenge as digitalizing different learning activities. And for me, this pandemic is not, it's actually the worst thing what could happen to digitalization of youth work, because everything was moved to Zoom, which is for me is not a digital youth work. And it's not proactively using the tools. However, this notion that everything is happening in the virtual spaces in Zoom has been evolving and becoming a stronger point. However, with the development of the Zoom fatigue, a lot of youth workers are back to the reality, and realizing that, at least we realize that using only particular tool and call it digitalization or digital youth work is not right, basically. And what excites me right now about these developments in digital youth work, that this notion is being debunked basically on digitalization of youth work. And I can see a lot of my colleagues in Georgia or abroad in Europe actually starting to use more proactively digital tools while working with young people. And that's very crucial for development of the digital youth work in general, and debunking the notion of the digitalization equal to Zoom calls. In 2019, December, there was a big conference in Georgia on youth work. And there was born idea, initiative on creating a European Digital Youth Workers Association or something like that, a union, very informal. However, due to the pandemic, we again halted because we didn't want this digital youth work to be associated with pandemic or being a reaction to it. And during this conference, all the points which young people and the youth workers raised were very crucial for the for youth work development in the regions of Georgia. Georgia is more than just Tbilisi. In Tbilisi, young people have to access to different services provided by the government, and the regions are being most of the time discriminated when it comes to the services provided by the government. And one of those includes wider than the youth work, it's also the access to the internet. And in the regions, young people basically don't have the stable or at all access to internet. And when we were talking about the development of digital youth work in the regions in Georgia, first of all, we saw the need of the government to provide the digital services in general for the regions. And however, right now we are on a hold for a while because of the political tensions in the country. The Youth Agency of Georgia last year, we started to work on different documents simultaneously. One was development of concept document on digital youth work, but simultaneously I was involved in the development of the state policy document on youth work. And having too many policy or strategic documents, we have challenge of proper implementation of these documents in the country. Instead of developing yet another document, we decided to embed directly into the main document different aspects of digital youth work. We broke down, first of all, we were inspired by the European recommendation on digital youth work. We took that document, we broke it down, and then we tried to embed the elements into the state document, keeping it realistic and implementable. One of the main aspects what we put into this document is the access to internet and creation of a digital platform for learning opportunities for young people and data management and the privacy of young people. So that was like three main elements in my personal agenda, which I wanted to implement, what I thought would be realistic to implement within given reform in the country. In 2021, we decided to create a supplementary document on digital youth work. So we are creating a concept document, which is actually inspired by Estonian. Right now, we are gathering data of last year. And also our different departments, they have conducted the different researches through the year. And part of this research was also the digitalization in youth work. And after analyzation of this data, we are going to develop the concept document on digital youth work together with our partners within the youth agency and the external experts. Last year, in 2020, we had a big call for the applications as the state agency. And of course, one of the priorities for us, providing grants for the organizations which incorporating digital youth work in their daily activities. And however, we saw the lack of the digital competences in the country, and many organizations expressed their will to more actively use everything digital in their activities. However, they didn't have the capacity for that. So we funded one of the organizations which provided a proposal on running training for youth workers on digitalization. Basically, the entire program was the training program, and the project was inspired by this expert's recommendation on digital youth work. Even though as a state agency, we are trying to implement the different policies, for the true capacity building of the organizations, we need direct funding and also increasing the competency of youth workers, especially digital competencies, which is a challenging task. We're gonna bring the development of this concept document to the wider public for discussion and input of the youth workers and also young people, of course. Digitalization of youth work is coming. It's inevitable, and it's very important that we would face this fact and incorporate the digitalization in our daily work. Because as youth worker, I feel that I should be in spaces where young people, and I believe that it's crucial for me to be on all platforms. It will be in a physical space or the digital space where young people are. And therefore, implementation of the policies by the governments and with consideration from the civil society on digitalization is crucial for development of the society in general. And for me personally, young people are the main pillar of the future, and the digital future is now.